Hi everyone, this video is, my choice for structures, buildings. Keep in mind this is as of the early access, alright, and of course if there's patches and other things I'm going to create other version. This is version 0.1. This will represent my opinion, and if you think differently, and I'm sure you will, share your reasons and your choice in the comment section below. Alright, so without further ado, let's begin. We're gonna start from D and go to S+. So basically, again, this is, by the way, for PvP, all right, for PvP only. Now, although the ramp is useful in the campaign, it's pretty much useless in PvP. We actually find one time that can actually be good if somebody, for example, build structures above trees, and you can actually create, if possible. It's a bit kind of a clunky to create a ramp because you need to connect. You can't just build in air. You need to connect to kind of an edge, or for example, a tree or leaf. In order to climb it. So although it's possible and allows you to kind of get to the position, I still think it's going to be useless by the time you get there and even realize that somebody's actually attacking with a redstone launcher there. So overall, with that little advantage, I think it's pretty much useless in PvP. Now, I have to admit that only lately I realized that actually ice trap can be actually pretty good if you build layers of walls and even wall the traps, so you can actually affect in a radius that prevent enemies from, not prevent, but kind of froze them for a little duration. It gives you basically more time to actually defend and allows you to deal more damage and eliminate enemies faster. Still, it takes a bit of, you need to make room for it, and sometimes when you make room and build a bigger base, it takes more resources to actually protect it, like building, for example, stone to cover all the areas as well. So I found out that although I really enjoy playing with it, I still think that it's pretty much lacking because, again, it takes space and basically it requires me to get more resources and everything basically more and more in order to accommodate for it. However, it can be very good when you place it near the gate. The gate is one of the places that is very often attacked because, again, you can double or triple it. If you double or triple it, you're going to block it, so you can put it there and can be useful to kind of freeze enemies for a little bit. Alright, although just keep in mind that that it can be easily destroyed. So if you want to do something like protect it, for example, in the inner parts, you need to build a wall around it. Now, the Spyglass Overlook doesn't really give you that much of advantage, although sometimes it can be the difference between getting into the base and hitting the base and not hitting the base. It's not a huge difference. Still, it's a good one to have if you can put it there. But again, most of the time you're going to find out that players will already find ways to position the redstone in a range very even close to the base in order to destroy you. There's some really good strategies to do that, so you don't really need to be that far. So again, it's useful at some situation, but in many situations, it's not necessary. Now, moving to tier B, when it comes to gates, you can actually block anything without gates. The problem is, how you get those minions outside. And if you get to mobs outside, you need to at least go put some spawner and then recall everybody. But if you recall everybody, you can ruin some strategies of certain minions that are positioned in certain places by some other players. If you recollect them all, you ruin that because you just collect everything for all parts of the map. So although there are ways to work around it, of course, it's important to put it if you want to quickly, of course, go out and maybe protect from the outside. But again, there are ways probably, and maybe you're going to find some meta protection that you don't even need it in some situations. But again, you need to wait to see. And still, it's viable and useful, and everybody almost use it. Regarding the scatter tower, again, with buffs, it can be good. Again, the cool thing about, we're going to talk about the arrow tower, is that it requires, again, it's very easy to just use it very early on and spam it. That's why you get really good advantage of actually using it. So again, overall, in terms of resources and again, early game, I think that is kind of a second to the arrow tower. When it comes to Frost Tower, the Frost Tower, both the Blast and Frost can be good, by the way, but again, kind of a mid-game if you're able to get to that. Usually if you don't get to that, they can be good to protect the base against attacks from lots of minions. The thing is that if they protect the part, for example, some part, the other part will probably be hit because enemies will just see that you are protecting with the tower, they just go to the other side. So basically, in order to make the most out of it, especially area where you can't actually attack, because if the Frost Tower can't attack the other side, it's probably going to hit the base because you can block it if you put another tower in front of it. And basically, again, it has a limitation. The other limitation, they can easily destruct it by just sending one minion, and of course it has a cooldown, so you can easily play around it. So again, same goes to the Frost and the Blast Tower, although the Blast Tower, again, if you put it in a certain situation, you're kind of more relaxed because it can freeze, and by the way, the freeze can be pretty long, by the way, you can actually just put it there, and you're gonna be more relaxed that enemies won't try to attack from that particular position. Now TA Protector Tower. Now Protector Tower, well, unfortunately, again, we're going to talk about the Redstone launcher, which is pretty much very broken in my opinion, at least as far as I can see it. It's still needed. Let's say even the Redstone launcher will be nerfed. Still, the Protector Tower can protect us, especially, you know, for example, upgrades. If your upgrades are getting destroyed by the Redstone, for example, it's very hard to do a comeback because so many resources, your army gets shrinked. So many things are gone. You need to do everything for the beginning. It can be very, very devastating, very hard to come back. So protecting those precious structures are very important, and you can do that with the Protector Tower, especially considering that the Redstone launcher is very much meta. Now, Field Button Drum is very good. Basically, what it does, it increases the firing speed of nearby arrow towers, scatter towers, redstone launchers, and traps. Keep in mind, and also traps. So it can be very good to make the other ones more effective, basically. This is one, again, because the thing is, you need to understand, with the meta now, with many enemies coming, this means that the damage is actually spread across all those enemies, so each one gets little, and with healers, with moss, it's very hard to really keep up with the high damage, so you need to increase the damage. This is why the Battle Drum come into play, to increase the damage overall of all your setup of towers, to protect your base, and this is why it's very, very useful, and this is why it's ranked high. Now, getting the Lapis flag, it just gives you more faster passive Lapis income resource. This is very, very important. The thing is that one thing the most annoying is that you know, enemies are really attacking fast and they're doing lots of damage, and your advantage is you can quickly spawn more. But it's not good if you're capped, or you know, you can just really have enough resource in order to combat their massive minion attack. Now you get, when you start putting the upgrade structure, you and your team start getting Lapis generated, but again, it's not enough, it's very slow, so having those extra flags can really help out. Kaboomery is also amazing because again, it adds explosive damage to projectile shot from arrow tower, scatter tower, and redstone launcher. You're going to see that many players actually try to use it, even for redstone launcher, but again, it's very good if you are protecting your base and need those extra, you know, damage to deal extra damage in order to clear up masses of minions coming. It's very useful, and if you are, you know, you have lots of these arrow towers, make sure to put it preferably sooner than later. Now, Carpenter HUD is absolutely essential. Basically, it just repairs nearby structures. So basically there's a zone, but again, you really want that, right? Because if enemies just come one after the other and release waves of enemies, they can just easily destroy you if you don't repair. So this buys you more time to repair, reconstruct, not reconstruct, but repair those damaged structures in order to be able to further protect against very aggressive players. Mansory basically turns wood structures into stone, which increase the durability. It requires iron, but this is a must-have. This is the thing that really make your everything strong. Your arrow tower structures, your walls, especially if you build layers of walls, buys you a lot of time to react when needed, and really make breaching into your base much harder. However, keep in mind the weak points when it comes to gates, so make sure to secure them in a way. I'm going to talk about it in a separate video, in a way that makes it harder for enemies to just target the gates all the time. Of course, the extendable wall are absolutely a must. This is like the core base thing. You can actually protect your wall. This is a must in any game, unless again, I don't know, some other crazy stuff will come. I use it every time, every single game when I want to protect my base. Now, regarding the stun tower, the best thing about the stun tower is that it can actually hit 360 degrees, and even if you're walled it around, basically it allows you to really push enemies far, so it takes more time to reach, and considering the time it actually takes to trigger it again, it really can kind of delay enemies from actually attacking your walls and just pushing them inside and stunning them even if they are inside. And because it works 360 degrees, it's absolutely amazing, and this is something that I really seriously consider using every single time at the center of the base to prevent, or not prevent, but delay at least enemies from actually attacking the base. Alright, SPSL, well, basically it's the redstone launcher. You know that unless somebody enlightened me with some other great things to actually counter it. The problem with this is that you can block it with protection tower, at least as of the time making this video in early access, and basically every person who player will try to attack the base, can attack the tip of the base, and you can't actually block it because the protector tower doesn't really protect that area. So it's kind of useless for actually protecting the base from destruction, basically. And it can be used even on top of trees in the jungle. I can even take the tree out, and the redstone launcher will still stay in the air along with other structures. It's the most devastating thing. By the time even you think about reacting, if you are surprised, it's already gone. Let alone if somebody uses it with other thing that increases the fire damage, add explosion, or even protect it with a power protector, so you can't even hit it with another redstone launcher if you put it as a defensive measure. Yeah, so this is it. Again, more things most probably will change, but this is, as of now, is the early access based on my opinion, and I'm sure, as I said, your will be different to some degree at least. So make sure you share your opinion so we know what's the structures you think are supposed to be higher tier and lower tier. Share yours in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.